This lesson, we're going to be going over writing some JavaScript, and they're going to transform it into jQuery, and you're going to see how much easier jQuery is to work with than just plain JavaScript. And first of all, what we want to do is let's create a brand new file, and we're going to link out to the file. So we're going to write our JavaScript in this file, and I'm going to simply call it lesson5.js. And let's go back to our index page. And just as we linked out to the jQuery library, we're going to go ahead and we're going to link out to our JavaScript library. So this one is local, so we can just use a local path to that file. So that's going to be lesson5.js. And that way we can close off our HTML and we can strictly look at and work with our JavaScript file. And notice also important the order of the script files. So just as if you would have all of the JavaScript on one page, you got to take into consideration the order of the files. So if we want to make use of jQuery within our JavaScript file, then make sure that the jQuery library is placed first in the order so that when the page loads, it loads through the jQuery and then we have access to it within our JS file. So let's flip over to our JS file. In the previous lessons, we saw how jQuery can load in and essentially the document ready. So we're waiting till the document is ready. And we also saw a short format. So instead of writing document ready, we can simplify this by just doing a function there. So anonymous function. And that's going to take the same place as the document ready. So we don't have to worry about writing out document.ready function. We can just do function and jump right into that. So that simplifies that process of making sure that the document is ready to use. And jQuery, of course, relies heavily on the document object. So that's why we always need to make sure that it's loaded. So let's do a console log out. So console log in JavaScript is a way to log out some information within the console. And I'm just going to write document is ready to use. So basically what's going to happen here is this is actually going to fire off within our script whenever we load the page. So we get document is ready to use. So one thing I did want to note is that I am using brackets, and with the newer version of brackets, there is this save files, lint files on save. So if you do have that checked off and if you do save it, and you're going to see that there's errors that are coming up within your JavaScript. So it's going to be finding problems with your JavaScript code, and it's going to be saying that it's not defined. And that's because we're using the JS file. So not to worry that this isn't a problem with the code itself. This is just something that brackets is doing because all it's doing is it's reading through this file and it doesn't understand that it's actually attached to the index file. And that's why we're getting that. So usually what I do is if I'm working with just the JS files, I'll turn the lint off and we're not going to see any of those errors pop. So we see that once we load, we see that this page has loaded. And JavaScript actually has an equivalent for that, and this is called DOM content loaded. So this is an event. We can listen for this event, and once this event fires off, then it's going to be equivalent to the DOM document is ready to use. So I'm going to just show you how to place that within your JavaScript. So if you wanted to, for instance, not use jQuery, then you could do this add event listener, and it's going to do the exact same thing. So basically it's going to listen and it's going to wait for the event is called DOM content loaded, and this is a fairly new event, so only available in the newer browsers, and we got a quote around that as well. And then we can fire off our function that we want to fire off when page loaded. So this is a page loaded function, so let's go ahead and create that one. We're going to pass the event as an argument. So now let's create that page loaded function. And then within here, let's get that event object. We'll pass that back. And we'll console log out DOM is, we should quote around there as well. So DOM is ready to use. So just shorten it so that there is a differentiation. So now when we go over to here, we see that DOM is ready to use, document is ready to use. We can do the document on load. So this is whenever the document loads, and we can fire off a function for that one as well. So let's fire off that same function. So we see that both of them get fired off, and instead of event, let's pass over a number. So this is going to be 1, and this is going to be 2, and we'll pick up that number. We'll just call it num. And so that we can actually differentiate between them. So let's refresh it, and we see that this one fires off first, and then this one fires off next. So there is a difference between onload and page loaded function in JavaScript. So what I want you to do now is try this out for yourself. So go ahead and set up the document is ready to use, set up your basic jQuery, and add something into the console, and then also try it out with JavaScript. So doing the add event listener, DOM content loaded, and you don't have to put a function here, you could just do that firing off the function in there as well, or you could fire off a function just as I've done within my example. And as you can see right off the bat, it is quite a bit easier with jQuery because a lot of this is just built in and ready to go. So next lesson, we're going to continue to build out and show you some of the other differences between using JavaScript and jQuery, and I'm going to introduce you to even more jQuery functionality. So that's all coming up in the next set of lessons.